Good afternoon and welcome to Inside the FLX. I'm Josh Durso and we are coming to you from the FingerLakes1.com studio in downtown Seneca Falls. Today we have Seneca Meadows District Manager Kyle Black in studio. He's going to discuss a variety of issues, even some local breaking news. Kyle, thanks a lot for coming on and taking the time.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate the time. Appreciate the ability to come on and talk with you.
So just in the last couple hours, one of the breaking developments, I guess you could say, is that the parent company to Seneca Meadows has pulled out consideration for the New York City Trash by Rail contract. Talk to us a little bit about the details of that, if you can, and sort of elaborate on your personal feelings on where it all stands.
That is correct. Today, our company announced that we were withdrawing our response to requests for proposals to haul containerized waste from New York City to the Seneca Meadows Landfill via rail as opposed to truck. It was a very large contract. It was a very well thought out decision after numerous discussions with town officials, with the local community. We've been a long-standing member of the community who has listened to what the community pulse is and what the community would like to see, and we've always taken that in high regard in our decisions moving forward with how we operate our facility. Senior management felt at this point that it was prudent to listen to what they heard and withdraw that request to continue in the consideration of that contract. And hopefully that request shows that we listen to the community, we listen to the town, we listen to the citizens. And trains coming through Seneca Falls with containerized solid waste was not something they wanted, and now they will not be getting that.
Now, one of the side effects, I guess you'd say, of the more recent talking around this issue has been the local law that was proposed this past month and is going to be having a public hearing on June 7th. What does this have anything to do with that, do you think? And do you think there's sort of a connection between the two, or do you think that this was something that was being thought about before the local law came to be proposed?
Again, Josh, we have always have a long-standing history of listening to the community. We have heard this groundswell has not been just since this local law was introduced a week and a half ago. Our company has been listening for the last couple months to what has been going on in the township, attending the meetings, meeting with town officials, meeting with other stakeholders to really understand what the issues were prior to this local law. And no, this extraction of our proposal did not have a direct correlation to the local law number 7. Now, what I will say about local law number 7 is a very concerning law that we don't feel applies to us and should apply to us from the standpoint that many of the details within the law we are not in violation of, and we feel it's very strongly worded such that it would affect not just our business, but potentially many other businesses. And I've been in contact with numerous businesses since the revealing of this local law that are very concerned about that as well. Again, we've always tried to be and continue to try to be a good community citizen and listen to what the community wants. And we don't feel this local law is the way to go. We've always sat down with people. We've always had an open door policy. And that's how we want to continue to operate our business.
Now, will Seneca Meadows, any of the employees, there was a significant turnout from you guys at the last special meeting. Do you think you guys will have a presence at the public hearing and or following meeting?
Absolutely. if this goes to public hearing and continues on that path, we will have a large contingent there. Many of our employees have approached me one-on-one. Many of their family members have approached me, very concerned about where this local law takes us, because as written, this local law could in effect put us out of business in less than 16 months. Mm-hmm. And that's very concerning to the 80 to 100 families that rely on our facility, that work day in and day out, handling respectively and correctly handling solid waste and doing the right thing with it. And they're very concerned about their jobs, and they're very concerned about the future, and they're very concerned about what that plan is.
Mm-hmm. Now, I guess there's been some, and understandably, I suppose, a little bit of confusion as to whether you guys would be grandfathered in to essentially be able to continue operating through the host agreement. But with your response right there, it sort of seems to me that you guys are concerned that when you go to get your operating permit renewed, that you wouldn't be able to, or that it wouldn't be granted in 2017?
Well, we have already our operating permit is with both the New York State DEC and the town of Seneca Falls. The New York State DEC permit is a 10-year permit. Mm-hmm. We have applied for renewal of our permit, our 2017 renewal. We applied for that back in March, mm-hmm. and we are continuing to discuss that with the DEC. Now, we also have an annual permit that we renew with the town of Seneca Falls to operate the landfill in Seneca Falls. Mm-hmm. So we basically operate under both of those permits, with the main permit being the New York State DEC permit, which pretty much oversees all the regulatory functions of the facility.
Now, does the company pulling out of the consideration for the New York City contract, does that impact how you guys are operating present day in any way, shape, or form? Does that, like, you guys have a plan, and I would assume, like most corporations, you have a plan and you have A, B, C, D, and you're moving through sort of the steps to get to where the direction is supposed to be going. Does the company doing that kind of put you guys in a spot of having to renegotiate or replan the next 6, 12, 18 months?
Not the short term. The short term, the operations will continue as is. We currently do have a valid New York State DEC permit, mm-hmm. that's valid through, I believe, October of 2017. Mm-hmm. And we also have a valid town permit that's valid through, I believe, August of 2016. Mm-hmm. So short term, it will not affect. Again, the point being here is we've been taking the New York City waste for many years by truck. Mm-hmm. So that part of it until New York City does something with another bidder with that contract, we would anticipate that material would still come to us.
So what is sort of the plan for you guys now? I mean, there's some construction happening out there on 414. Talk to us a little bit about what modifications are happening on 414 to accommodate. It's a turning lane, correct?
Correct.
Walk us through what is happening out there, because I feel like you drive by there and you see a lot happening, and a lot of people might be a little curious.
Okay. Very good question, Josh. Every year there's a lot of construction that goes on at Seneca Meadows. Again, annually we spend $14 million with local vendors each year on various construction activities. One of those construction activities this year happens to be the Route 414 intersection project. This has been a long year, a 10-year project we've been working with the DOT on to get a safer intersection in front of our facility. I can't tell you how many individuals that know me personally have called me in the past upset with trucks pulling out in front of them. For many years, we have recognized that and been working with the local DOT and with the Syracuse DOT, and we finally were able to get this permit with the DOT to put dedicated turn lanes and a stoplight in that mm-hmm. will be a much safer intersection for the traveling public, mm-hmm. and as well for the customers that use our facility. So we really look forward to this construction and getting that safe intersection built and in place, hopefully by the end of July.
And I was going to ask you, that's the date that they're aiming for having that completed?
Yeah, we're sooner the better. We've hired Sealand Contractors out of Rochester. Again, a fairly local firm that's done a lot of work around here. They're a very aggressive, very good contractor, and they understand we laid out a pretty aggressive schedule for them once we received the permit from the DOT, and we want those safety features in place as soon as possible.
So talk to us a little bit about the merger that's going to be taking place over the next several months. Is there a particular date set yet in terms of when your parent company will actually be merged with the new company, or is that still sort of up in the air?
That's still a work in progress. Back in January, our company announced that we were merging with Waste Connections, another similar size company headquartered out of Woodlands, Texas. The two companies will form the third largest solid waste management company in North America by far. The great thing about this merger with these two companies is there's not a lot of overlap. There's not a lot of markets we compete in. They're really two really strong companies of similar size coming together to form a much stronger, larger company to service tens of thousands of customers. And that process has been an ongoing process. Again, all takes time to get through the legal end of it. Mm-hmm. We anticipate sometime the first week in June that process coming to closure and being able to announce that the companies are officially merged.
So, and really the last big piece of recent news, I guess, would be the purchase of Tarjac and another adjacent property. Talk to us, if you can, a little bit about how you feel that came together, if it's just a private business deal or something that just happens and it's not really newsworthy, or what sort of your take is on that?
The details of it are really a private business deal between our company and Tarjac. Tarjac's been a long-standing neighbor to us. We've worked with them for a very long time. We've supported them. They've supported us. We were able to come to an agreement on the property, and just like many of the other properties that we purchased, we're happy to add add assets to our property list that make sense for us and for the seller. So
the real reason we originally were going to have you on was to talk about odor control. Obviously, that has been a big factor in creating a lot of conversation around you guys. What have you guys identified as the major culprits, I guess, of the odor that people may have been smelling in the neighboring communities? And what is sort of the process right now that's taking place to correct that issue?
Okay. Yes, odors have been bedeviling us for the last 4 or 5 months. They started this winter. Again, the first thing I want to say is we want to apologize to both communities of Waterloo and Seneca Falls of causing causing those issues to be part of the communities. We never intended that. We worked very hard through the winter to contain it as well as we could. We brought in experts. We identified the issues. We have installed the additional landfill gas collection wells and headers, and we are seeing measurable changes and measurable upgrades in the amount of landfill gas that we're able to process and get over to our renewable energy sources over across the road from us. So we are seeing tangible gains in that, and still got a little ways to go. We learned a lot from this, and everything that we've learned, we are incorporating into our future operations to ensure that we never impact our neighbors like that again. Mm-hmm. We really feel it was a one-time event. I've been here myself for 16 years, and frankly have not, we've never experienced odors like that, nor will we again. We've made that commitment to the community, and we will make sure that never happens again.
And it was pretty localized, even out. It was one particular space inside the landfill site itself that was the culprit of most of the smell, correct?
Yeah, it was. So what we've done so far is we've installed 39 additional wells multiple headers to connect to those wells that moves the gas. The next step that we're going into now as part of our construction season is we're out to bid for 50 acres of final cover. That's the final cap that goes on the landfill that basically seals off the landfill. Mm-hmm. We should have our bids back this week or next, maybe potentially all of them next week. Once we get those back and negotiate with the contractors, they'll mobilize, and basically we will be putting the covers on that western expansion, mm-hmm. which was closest to Waterloo, which was the source of the majority, if not all of those landfill gas odors. And between the landfill gas installation that our crews and the third-party contractors that we've used and this capping, we firmly believe that will complete the cycle of the odors being gone for mm-hmm. good.
Now that wasn't at capacity, correct? So you guys are essentially throwing the towel in on that expansion and saying we'll cut our losses with it because it's been such a problem. You just want to sort of finish it off and be done with it, right?
Well, we were very close to finishing it off, Josh. Again, that was the landfill that we had been operating in the last 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
We were obviously at the very top of it, so we were way up in the air. We still have a little bit more fill to put in up there, but a couple months ago we made the conscious effort to pull off and move down into a lower area to get this gas collection plan implemented and get all these headers and not have anything in the way of that, to get that done as soon as possible. And I can sit here today and say honestly, we've come along, all that hard work and all that tangible assets that have been employed have made a big difference in the odors. Our odor complaints are way down for the last week and a half, couple weeks. We notice it at the landfill. Our employees notice it. So we're very happy that we've been able to reap the fruits of that labor, mm-hmm. to not have those impacts. We don't want ever to have landfill gas impacting any of our neighbors or any of the townships with which we operate in.
Talk to us and you touched on it a little bit, but talk to us a little bit about the sheer volume of technology that has to be used and put into action out there at a landfill of that size. That's probably, when I finished the tour, that was probably one of my 2 or 3 biggest takeaways, was just the sheer volume of information and technology that had to be installed out there and has to be operating on a daily basis to keep you guys going. It has to be one of your biggest focuses, right?
Absolutely. And again, we have 80 to 100 full-time jobs out at the landfill. The 20 jobs are associated with construction. The 80 jobs are the day-to-day operation of that landfill. They're the men, women that pack the waste in, that cover it and make sure it's done right. There's the odor control crews and the landfill gas collection crews. There's our monitoring and maintenance crews that oversee the environmental side of it. Mm-hmm. There's our stormwater and leachate management crews that implore all of that technology. A landfill is really a big construction project, a very technical, large construction project, and mm-hmm. day to day, it's a nonstop operation. Again, it's kind of like the beauty of our industry. Everybody puts their garbage out and it magically goes away. Well, the magic is having facilities like this that are well-run, award-winning facilities that do it right the first time, and take care of people's solid waste in a safe manner.
Now, employment is something that's constantly talked about. Obviously, it's a benefit of the community to have jobs in any setting. Talk to us a little bit about how many jobs we're talking about. Are they filled by residents of Seneca County? Are some of them from other areas? Is it something that, because I feel like people hear you say, or hear some members of the Seneca Meadows team say, well, there's between X number of employees and Z number of employees, but pinning down a specific number seems to be something that is either difficult to do or it can't be done. Is it because some of the jobs are vary day to day and it depends on who's actually working, or is there a different factor happening in there? Or how many employees do you guys have at current moment or at peak?
At current moment, we have 70 plus direct employees, and I say plus because there is some fluctuation. We do use some local temp labor services for the times when the wind blows and we have to pick litter, things like that. We also have numerous contractors on site. We have construction companies, local construction companies. We have DC Rouser on site doing a lot of landfill gas to energy work for us. We have Sealand. We have numerous construction companies on site. That's where those jobs come about. Every year we spend plus or minus $14 million with local vendors on that construction. We buy our gravel from Dundas Sand and Gravel. We use local trucking companies like Eddie Thurston and Dennis Furkey and Carl and CJ Farney, all local people. So there's the real net impact of the overall jobs for the site is in the 150 to 200 in reality that are here, and that has a huge impact. Our direct payroll alone is a $7 million impact on the local economy. They're good paying jobs. They're highly skilled individuals. Back to your point, that can buy houses and live in the community and afford to stay here and not have to move. Construction is inherently a nomadic go where the work is. Well, with the landfill, the construction's there every year. The operation of the landfill's there every year. The support of all those things from the engineers and the admin people in our office, that all rolls into those numbers, and they're very important jobs to this community.
Now, theoretically speaking, I know there are a lot of variables out there. Obviously, the proposed local law number 7, but aside from that, what is the expectation within Seneca Meadows as far as what is the end date, or what is the end time frame? I guess for you guys, it would be in the perfect world, what is sort of the plan, or how? Because everyone realizes that you cannot close a landfill overnight. It takes time, and obviously it takes a lot of planning. And I'm sure you guys have to be thinking about that almost constantly, because you can only go so far, you can only operate for so long on the property you own. Talk to us a little bit about what that process looks like and what some of the end date figures, numbers, what they look like.
Absolutely. Our facility can only operate when it has airspace, and it has a permit to operate within that airspace. That permitted airspace that we have ties to the host community agreement and the DEC permitting. Now, back to the DEC permitting, the DEC issues 10-year permits. So moving through the DEC process, which we would expect to hopefully move through here in the near future and get done, they would give us an anticipated 10-year permit, which would get us out to 2027. Our current host community agreement with Seneca Falls goes to 2025. Part of the reason why there's a 2-year lag there is exactly back to your point. It takes time to close the landfill. You have to have a permit to get to the point of closure. Then what happens is you move into post-closure of the landfill. And every year we have to calculate and put monies up to ensure that there's enough money in the post-closure fund for our landfill to operate all of those technologies, all that gas control, all the leachate controls, to maintain the facility for a minimum of 30 years past that time when we take the last bit of garbage. And every year that number is recalculated and revisited. It's tens of millions of dollars. It's a very large number. Again, it's with the size of the facility to cover all those things. So that's something that is revisited in the state DEC. It's submitted to them. They review it and they ensure that there's enough money in that post-closure fund to make sure that this facility is properly taken care of long into the future.
Now, how have you guys felt about the way this issue has been handled politically? I mean, there has been a lot of opposition from politicians and from some members of the community. Has that sort of made things more challenging for you guys, or is that just sort of become part of the business?
Local politics are always a challenging thing. No two ways about it. I mean, that's why they call it politics, right? Again, we have always tried to listen. We have an open door policy. I go to every town board meeting I can, both in Seneca Falls, Waterloo. I go to the County Board of Supervisors meetings. I go to all those because I want to have an understanding and a relationship with all those political individuals to make sure that if they're hearing something, that we take care of it, that we're working with them, that open door policy and that commitment to the community stays strong, that they know we are going to do what we were going to say we were going to do. And that's our commitment to this community, always has been and always will be.
And what would be, sort of, before we get you out of here, what would be your parting message to members of the community between now and when that next public hearing is going to be held? What would you like to say to residents Seneca Falls, Seneca County, Waterloo?
Well, what I'd like to say, frankly, is please show up at that hearing, and please voice your opinions and your concerns with everything that's going on. It would be catastrophic for our facility to close prematurely and not realize the benefit of the airspace and realize the host community agreement that we have made with Seneca Falls. That's all we're looking for, and I really hope the taxpayers of Seneca Falls come out and ensure that they understand where all that stands. We are a major contributor to Seneca Falls and Waterloo, and again, we want to continue to be that way for a long time.
Well, we appreciate your time, and definitely got to wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate your time as well.
That's going to do it for us today. I'd like to thank Kyle for coming on the show and wish him the best of luck with everything moving forward. As a reminder to our viewers, Inside the FLX does air on Sundays at 7 p.m. on Time Warner Cable Channel 12. And the latest news, updates, and podcasts, they're just a click or touch away with the Finger Lakes One app, available on Apple and Android devices. For Kyle Black, I'm Josh Durso, reminding you to join us next week on another episode of Inside the FLX.